Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and I am joined today by a bit of a Sunderland YouTube legend, it's fair to say. He goes by the name JamSarny, which is, we were just talking about this off air. I was like, do I call you Jam? Is that the first name, or do I go with Joel? But we'll go with Joel. But anyway, Joel, if people are somehow watching my channel and have no idea who you are and are like, who is this random man wearing a Sunderland top, please tell everyone where we can find you and what you do.
Well, firstly, Connor, what I'd like to say is that it's a downright pleasure to see your face back on YouTube covering Sunderland content. I absolutely love it, mate. But yeah, so my channel is JamSarny on YouTube. I've been doing that for sort of 7-8 years now. I feel like I've been saying 7-8 years for the last few years now. So I have no idea how long it's actually been. But yeah, covering Sunderland match previews, reviews, updates, all that kind of stuff. I will just put a disclaimer out there that sometimes it isn't quite child friendly, depending on the language. I'm a very passionate man, as a lot of Sunderland fans can resonate with. So win, lose or draw, it does go to the extreme. There's no real in between. But yeah, so JamSarny on YouTube.
Yeah, you were very. I watched your review of the Forest game. You were very animated, particularly at the start. Very animated.
I can't control myself, mate. To make me watch a game, win, lose, or draw, and then stick me in front of a camera, I'm probably the worst person to do it with, really.
That's why people watch it, isn't it?
I'm a man-child. I'm just a man-child.
Aren't we all, though, watching? So, you see, I'm a bit more like I try and always suppress those sort of... Even when I'm at the game, especially with VAR, being what it is, like I can't even celebrate a goal now because I'm just like, no, this might go wrong. Yeah, that's why it's struggle to get too excited.
I mean, that's a totally different conversation at VAR. I mean, I do hate that every time we score, even if it seems like it should be just a blatant, obvious 100% goal, there's 10% of the celebration that I would have 100% committed to in the Championship. Yeah. I'm sort of like, should I be doing this? You know what I mean? And keeping one eye open and looking over my shoulder. But it is what it is. It's been going in our favour more often than not this season, hasn't it?
Yeah, and apologies if you can hear my dog barking at any point. I think he's barking right now.
Oh, so there we go. Bring him on.
I don't think, yeah, I'm not sure if he's the right fit for this one. Anyway, Sunderland against Nottingham Forest. So, I mean, so many places to start. You know, we can talk about the goal, we can talk about Sunderland's performance overall, but I think we should start with a general point about Sunderland's defensive solidity, because that is the thing for me. I mean, when I was doing my preseason sort of predictions, before the start of the season, then as a disclaimer here, this is when we're lined up with Jensen Sealed. Nothing against Jensen Sealed, but do you know what? Something against Jensen Sealed, because obviously not a Premier League player. Absolutely. But at that point, when it was Sealed and basically Ballard anchoring the defense, and we were playing Ronaldo in there, I had Sunderland to finish 19th this season because I just was like, well, we haven't addressed that issue. Now, though, you watch us after the first 6 games, and particularly since Mukiele's came in and Alderete has now established himself in there, you look at that defense and think, we have got a hell of a defense. And we saw that, didn't we, on Saturday? Like that defense is just unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've hit the nail on the head there, because I will just say that I predicted us to finish 17th just before the season started. And that wasn't me just trying to keep us in the Premier League. I just thought we had just enough about us. But you are right. The defence went from my biggest worry to the biggest asset we have. Because if you remember, Harrison Jones played left back for the entirety of pre-season and hit that lad, even though I think he's got a cracking future. I think he's a good little player, but he's not a left back by any stretch of the imagination. And Seal and Ballard as well. And Ballard obviously has a horrific injury record, as amazing as he is. And then Trey Human, I just thought, this is barely a sort of top 6 championship defence at the moment. And then it's turned into a defence that I can only gush over at the moment. And it's the biggest selection headache when people tell me or ask me what the best back four is, because I couldn't tell you. You know, if you're a full fit team to put Ronaldo there, you've got Alderete, Mukiele, Ballard, Hume, Haytrauder can play right back as well. It's such a nice headache to have. But for me, Mukiele is just, oh my God, he's just different gravy, that lad. Absolutely different gravy.
Yeah, I mean, picking up Alderete and Mukiele for like what a combined like 20 to 25 million, depending on what you read in that region. Look at the defenses though. Like we're obviously going to talk about Man United in this because we're playing them next. But I look at that Man United defense and goalkeeper situation, and I go, well, they could have really done with Alderete and Mukwele. They're playing that back three they've got, and they could have done with Robin Roofs and Nets when you see their goalkeeper letting in stinkers every week. And like, how do these teams not find? You know, Alderete is playing in La Liga. Like, it's like he's playing somewhere in Paraguay in the second division, and we've just plucked him out there. He's a La Liga player, and he looks like a rock-solid Premier League centre-back.
I think what happened as well, though, with teams like Manchester United, like, of course, in recent times haven't been great, but they are still arguably one of the biggest clubs in the world. I think they go after what they believe to be headline signings, even though they're not amazing. The players that fans will generally know, they might be somewhat of a household name. Where we've got Giusolfi coming in now, we've got everyone behind the scenes trying to nitpick these players that no one would really hear of, and I hadn't heard of Alderete beforehand. And I think there was a quote from the president of Getafe after we signed him, saying because they needed the money that much, we sold what he believes to be the best centre-back in La Liga for peanuts. So when you hear words like that, and then a few games in and you watch him perform, you can absolutely back that up. Do you know what I mean? So it is refreshing that we're bringing in these players that we've never heard of. They're not free agents from League One. You know, it is really refreshing, and Alderete has surprised me as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, when you bring up League One, that's when I worked for the club, and like they're signing Lawrence de Bock or something, and I'm like in my head going, right, how do I present this as good? How do we present it? Callum McFadden, I mean, that was obviously after me, but players like that, and now you look at what we've got in there. I mean, it's literally within the last 5 years that was happening. And
you can only give credit to the recruitment team, can't you? Because they've done an incredible job. And I know it's probably a little bit of recency bias given how well we're doing now. I mean, we might be having a slightly different conversation had we not, played the way in which we have. But as of right now, one hell of a job they've done. One hell of a job.
Yeah. I mean, they basically started from zero. Like, you think about when Kirill and Speakman and whatnot came in, and they started Stuart Harvey. I always forget to put Stuart Harvey, but he is obviously a massive part of this as well. Yeah. When all them came in and were starting as a League One team that need to get rid of Deadwood and try and build this to where they've got in 5 years. Like, if Sunderland do stay up this season, I think there'll be books written. And if there isn't books, I'll write the book. Like, there should be books written about
You've written a book. Is that your segue to you writing a book?
No, it was. I keep forgetting to bring it up. Actually, there we are. I have written a crossword book. I will put the link in the description.
Do it. Buy it.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the main point. Yeah. If that happens, it's unbelievable the work that they've done in 5 years.
Oh yeah, it is. It's almost sort of like video game Football Manager-esque, isn't it? It's kind of it really is, and everyone argues that KLD just played Football Manager with Sunderland, which he essentially has, and that's not to say there hasn't been mistakes made, because we know there has been several sort of bumps in the road, but in general, 9 times out of 10, the moves in which they've made and the way they've worked, it's been nothing short of perfect to a degree. Do you know what I mean? Or at least as close to as you can get. It's a remarkable achievement to see. Every day I see it on Twitter or social media, there'll be a lineup from League One, and it's only like 4 or 5 years ago, and it's just horrific how that team even competed in League One at times, and see how far we've gone and how ambitious and brave they've been in the window for the Premier League. It's incredible, and they've given us a great chance to stay up, and I think we will.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some of the relegation candidates as well as this goes on. So that's I'm going to be very interested to see your take on where the Premier League is right now. But let's go back to the Forest game. A couple of causes of concern for me, and do you know what? Yeah. I don't like to bring up causes for concern, but I've got a few, and I'm just going to list a few of them out, and you can just pick them out. So number one, I didn't think Masuaku had a great game at the weekend. I thought he struggled. Number two, I actually think Trey Hume struggled, in particular when he moved over to left back. I thought that dawdling he did in the box was strange more than anything. And then I think the last thing is Sunderland, I think, have given away some really big chances that opposition teams haven't taken yet. Like Chris Wood should score that header that he gets. And look, it's probably the only one in the game, but he should score that. And I look at, there was obviously Brentford have missed a penalty. Palace have missed that a couple of chances in that game, but there was particularly that one from, was it Pino maybe in the first? I can't remember. Palace player got in. He puts it wide. I am a little bit concerned that maybe this fantastic start has to have that little thing of, but we are giving away. We love the defense, but we are still giving away like chances that teams should be scoring.
Yeah, no, you are right. And I think there's always going to be an element, particularly when you do well, there's always going to be an element of riding your luck. And against players that we are up against, we need to remember that we have come up from the Championship. We are going to concede chances. And I think the Chris Wood chance wasn't particularly made by horrendous defending. It was a good cross into Wood. He's an established Premier League striker. They're going to get chances. Every chance an opposition makes doesn't necessarily mean it's a mistake on our part. It's been created very, very well. But in large, if you have a look at the amount of chances they've had, saves are going to have to be made because we are a team that's going to try and stay up in this division. So we're going to concede chances. But the amount of shots and chances that they're blocked by great defense or defending. And and onto Masuaku, that's a point that I made on my own review. I could not decide whether the lad was either going to score an own goal, get sent off, or score a worldie. I could not put my finger on it at all. I think going forward, and West Ham did warn us about this, going forward, I think is crossing occasionally. The couple of crosses that he put in were actually really, really good. They looked dangerous, albeit they didn't meet a Sunderland head or a Sunderland target. But yeah, defensively, he just looked all over the place. He was tucking in when he didn't need to, just show them out wide, needless fouls, and he just didn't do the simple things correctly when he was on the ball. You know, you've got players inside showing for it, and he'd try and do skill, he'd lose it, or he'd look up and he'd just pass it directly to a Nottingham Forest player under seemingly zero pressure. So yeah, that was a worry. With Trey Hume, I thought he struggled more on the right-hand side, but that wasn't, I don't think, was really a discredit to him. I think it was how good Ndoye is and how fast he is and how pacey he is. And when he went over to the left-hand side, yeah, he did have that moment of stupidity where he started cutting inside when he's already inside his own box. That was ridiculous and just he nearly buried us there. But I do think Regis did the right thing in moving Hume over there and Talby over there to kind of shore that up, because that left-hand side was, or our left-hand side was so open when Masuaku was there. And Lefay, obviously, as much as he does try and help out going back, he's absolutely better going forward. So it was so open. So I'm glad that he was proactive and changed that, because that was just a red card waiting to happen or some serious attacks from Forest. So I'm glad to see that he did change it. But yeah, I prefer to see Ronaldo there over Masuaku 100%.
Yeah, I mean, Ronaldo's had some crazy moments, to be fair, not least the red card. But this defense, you see, the thing that I look at it and I think, right, Ballard, for me, you have to find a way of getting him in there. And I talk a lot on my channel about how good Sunderland are from set pieces, defensively and offensively. And for me, when we had them three centre-backs on against Aston Villa and we had McCreely, yucking the ball in the box, and we didn't have that, interestingly, on Saturday. We didn't use the long throw. That's a different point. And then you've also got in there Alderete and Ballard, and then the three of them in the box on corners. We look like a serious threat. And I watched the Nottingham Forest review after the game, and they were talking about the fact that every time Sunderland got a set piece, they were worried. And every time they got a set piece, they thought, well, there is no way we're going to be able to, with their goalkeeper and their centre-backs, win them. And it's interesting the perspective of other teams on that. But I feel like we need to find a way of getting, whether it's a back four or a back three, Ballard, Alderete, and McCreely playing, because I think they are so integral physically anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I really enjoyed, particularly against Villa, of course, it was nail-biting throughout, particularly that second half. But when we did have Alderete, Mukiele and Ballard on the pitch at the same time, and at the back end of the Forest game, even though they were making half chances, pumping balls in the box, I wasn't concerned at all, just because of how good they are. And then going forward and playing for set pieces, it isn't pretty, but it's proven to be a real vocal point for us. But to try and get them into the team at the same time, I wouldn't like to see us. I don't want to see us stick with a five at the back system. I think that's kind of needs must type system. But I think Mukiele, as great as he's been at centre back, he is profoundly a right back. That's what he has played a large portion of his game. So to see him at right back, even though I don't want to see that happen, but then Ballard and Alderete and then Ronaldo at left back, I think that's great. I think that's fantastic. Troud, after more games, can start to compete as well. It's just a nice headache to have. But that back four that you originally said, I think we might see that eventually come into play later on in the season.
It's interesting with McCreely as well, because I think he's been phenomenal. And I don't want to say anything negative really about him. But what I will say is that Chris Wood chance, which he misses, and then the goal that Brentford scored against us, which was Thiago. Same sort of ball. They're on his side, and I feel like maybe because he's not a natural centre back in a two, I feel like those chances are coming because his positioning isn't correct. He seems to struggle with centre forwards kind of coming in round the back of him with their balls coming over to the back post, and I think that probably comes from the fact that it's not actually his natural position.
Yeah, I think you might be right. And I think those kind of balls, if they happen, if he's in a right back position, it's not going to immediately become a straight goal scoring opportunity. So he's just used to that happening. So you stick that in the more central area and you're going to be done for. So I never really thought of that, to be fair, because I've just been gushing over him. But yeah, you're probably right. I think, like I said, moving him over to right back, I think eventually might be the way to go. But other than the brief little things that you just mentioned, I can't put anything against it. I really can't. I think he's been phenomenal.
He's a net positive. He's an absolute net positive. It's just for me. That's why I've been talking about I've talked about the three at the back quite a bit, because I just think that certainly defensively, it looks like that three of Ballard, Alderete, and Mukwele is like built to be a three. Like when we go to Man United this weekend, and we will talk about that. Man United play three at the back. So do we match them and go, we're going to play three at the back? Now, actually, when we talk about that game, I don't think we should do that. But I think the option is there. We've got that built sort of in the team. And you can see that if we are winning a game or trying to hold on to a point, I think that's going to be an option we use a lot this season, the back five or back three.
Yeah, I think we're quite fortunate that we probably did go down to 10 men against Villa, because we've almost unnaturally discovered that we can play as five at the back. Because obviously there's no chance in hell that Regis has gone into that game against Villa and thought, you know what, I'm going to play five at the back at some point. That was never going to happen. That was never in his mind. That was never the plan. So if that's happening, we saw how well we played with that wing back system with the five at the back. Now he does have that confidence that we can use it. But like I said, I don't want that to be our go-to now from the off. I think that can be used if we do manage to sort of snag a goal lead, or if we really do have backs against the wall to cling onto a point like we've seen against like of Palace or Villa. We can go to that system now. So it's just an option, isn't it?
Yeah, that's how I look at it as well. It's an option. I think we can use it. We could use it from the start in certain games. If we looked at, say, Burnley went to Man City the weekend and played five at the back. They don't normally play five at the back, but they did that. And like, if we look at that and go, do you know what? With the threats that Man City and Liverpool have, maybe that's our best way of getting a point. But you're right. I wouldn't be doing it unless it's the last 20 minutes and we're clinging on. Let's talk about the midfield, though. Because Noah Sadiki, Granit Xhaka. And what's interesting for me is this summer when we brought in Diarra and Sadiki, I sort of looked at Diarra and Sadiki and said to myself, are they going to be filling the same position? That was, for me, it was like we bought sort of a number one in Diarra and a number two in Sadiki. But for me, from what I've seen this season, Sadiki's the better player. And that's nothing against Diarra. It's just that Sadiki just looks unbelievable.
Oh, he does. Honestly, I think there's actually a question you're going to be asking me later on, but I'm just going to say it now. Sadiki, for me, is my favourite signing that we've made. And I said that within one game of watching him in pre-season. And you are right, because with Diarra, of course, it comes the price tag. So I think if maybe we bought Diarra for 10, 15 million, we might be putting them on like an even playing field. But Sadiki is just an outstanding athlete, and I think that's what they wanted to bring in. Of course, they have to be technically gifted to a degree, but to put Granit Xhaka in there, they just wanted another two athletes in there, because that's what you need in the Premier League, a real engine room. And Sadiki in particular, we've seen the jokes and what have you, but it's so true. He just does not stop running. Even if he goes from a press, the ball's not past him. He's not like, God, I need to run back. He's just relentless. He's holding the sprint button constantly. he's just non-stop, that lad.
Yeah, and I think I saw he did 12 kilometers at the weekend and on a yellow card very early in the game. And I got worried. I was like, Sadiqi's not the guy you want in a booking. But he played that with maturity, didn't he?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. He is. He's a very intelligent little player, and I feel like it sounds like we're almost knocking him or downplaying how good he actually is with the football at his feet, when all we talk about is how far he runs. Do you know what I mean? But I think because he does the dirty work so well that goes so under the radar, that's what we do bring up, because he's just so good at doing the sort of not the most glamorous work in the squad. But when he is on the ball, he looks after it really well. And he's only 20 years of age. He looks so accomplished. And 6 games in, I'm already terrified that someone's going to nick him off us. Do you know what I mean? I'm already feeling that. Same with a lot of the players we brought in, but with 6 games in, we can't get ahead of ourselves there.
Yeah, well, we can get ahead of ourselves a little bit,
course.
But yeah, we should always caveat getting ahead. I do this thing where I go, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Then I get ahead of myself, but because I said I don't want to get ahead of myself, then that immediately it's like,
I always get ahead of myself, mate. Always.
Yeah. I want to touch as well on Granit Xhaka, mainly because he's now got 3 assists this season. He's due a goal. We've not actually seen him like really have a goal from range. Like, I'm desperate to see him pull one in from 25 yards, and he's had one at Burnley dragged wide. He had one against Villa last weekend, which he just hit at the keeper. But I feel like he's due a goal.
I do agree, and you are right in that he isn't getting those chances, and I think that's because his role within that squad, not just as a leader in captain, his actual position in that squad, he is so strict to that anchor that he has to play, that he's never really going to get that almost free roaming role to push up a bit further, because he sits in there to allow whatever other centre mids next to him to get forward and push forward. So I think he's so strict and defiant with the role he has to play. And he's right, because on the counter-attack, he has to be there or to defend or to start off an attack. So, but no, you are right. I think maybe it's going to come from a set piece, something like that. And yeah, it'll come. I'm sure it'll come.
Yeah, I just want him to hit one in the roker end, just like 25 yards.
Against the
maybe
mag.
like, yeah. Oh, well, obviously against the Mags.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the relegation candidates. So this is a topic that has interested me. I've actually done a video on Football Insider about this today. Okay. I don't know how interested you are in Opta and how they give the percentages. It's a nonsense because it changes. Sunderland were at like 48% a couple of weeks ago. Now they're down to 28%. Yeah. But I'll read through what Opta is basically saying, and I just want to get an idea of where you are with the relegation. So Wolves, Burnley, and West Ham, that's their bottom 3 currently. Then Sunderland and Leeds are on the same, 28%. Forest is next. You've then got in there Man United are the only other team above 10%. And then you've got like Brentford, Fulham, Everton. They were all sort of single digits. Newcastle and Villa were like low single digits. Yeah. But what's interesting to me is Sunderland and Leeds, I think, are probably going to stay up. I think Sunderland, with the obviously no team's ever had a good a start as this and, went down before. So Sunderland, I think, should be okay. Leeds, I think, look really, really good. And that means that 2 established Premier League teams will probably have to go down, if I'm correct. And I can't pick. Who are you? Well, I can't pick. I'm not asking you who. I'm just saying, do you look at the Premier League, do you actually see 2 teams that you think, oh yeah, I can see them going down?
I think what's so different about the Premier League this season is there isn't anyone who's sort of running away with it, or I'm looking thinking, oh, they're in free fall. Of course, you might look at Wolves, who haven't had a great start, but you can say that about Villa, but then as soon as they go on a bad run, they just go and beat Fulham 3-1, who look great in themselves, and everyone is capable of beating everyone, which generally in the Premier League, you don't get that. Like it's been covered recently with the newly promoted clubs. They're going straight back down with a whimper. Do you know what I mean? They don't even look remotely like they're going to stay up with 0 fight, nothing. But now this season, as soon as I look at one team, I think, oh, they're slipping towards the bottom, then they're done. They win. And then they're the 15th all of a sudden. So I can't put my finger on it. I do think Sunderland will stay up, and not just because of these opening 6 games. There's still a hell of a long way to go. I think Leeds will as well. Burnley, I don't think they're going to be bottom of the league. I think they will be 18th, 17th. But again, we're going to go in circles there, because I can't think of anyone else who's going to drop into that bottom 3. It'd be easy to say Wolves now, but no. But in terms of stats, not stats, no, it don't really interest me. I have a look at it, but I know ultimately it goes off like the last sort of 6 games or so, and it changes so. It's so fickle. Stats are so fickle, and they change by game. So no, I don't. I like to look at it, but I have 0 respect for it.
Yeah, that's kind of. I think it's more like it's an indication, is what I like, because I think Opta had us finishing 21st in the Championship last season, didn't they? So like it's a nonsense in a lot of ways. Yeah. But I think sometimes you look at it and it gives, like, for example, Forest were at like 22%, and I'm like, well, maybe Forest, with Ange being in there and how bad Tottenham were at the end of last season, the fact that they lost at home against Sunderland and realised they ran out of ideas, they're in Europe and they've got a lot of factors. I'm like, do you know what? Maybe Forest are in trouble. In my head saying they're not, because I look at the team and think they're good, but maybe they are. Maybe Man United are banging trouble.
Yeah, possibly, but you might be right. But Yeah, I can't see United going down. I say that they could. Like I say, they really could. Forest, I think Forest have way too much. I know we've just beaten, but I think they have way too much in their arsenal to go down. But I guess you can make an argument for every club, couldn't you? Like even Wolves, I've started poorly. They still have class in abundance.
They were good at the weekend.
Yeah, they were. And there are teams that are getting beat heavily, but then you look at the performance and maybe it doesn't reflect necessarily in the scoreline. So it's a mad one. We're only 6 games in, but there's no one who I look at and think you're definitely going down. Or
even West Ham with Nuno. Like West Ham for me, if they kept Potter, they'll go down. But Nuno, I'm like, well, he's not getting relegated, surely. No, like he's built.
I'd be very, very surprised if they go down with Nuno. I think a lot of people have said the same thing, but they've got themselves a get out of jail free card there.
Yeah, that's Nuno, what I think.
Absolutely, 100%.
And that's like the weird thing, because that's why it's so interesting. I mean, Sunderland have basically got to pick up 29 points from 32 games, roughly 0.9 points a game. So are Sunderland going to pick up less than a point per game on the basis of we've seen this season? And you'd say, like, no, they're going to be in every game, which means they will pick up more than a point per game. That's the foundation we've given ourselves. But I just look at the rest of the league and I don't see obvious candidates to get relegated.
No, I feel exactly the same way, mate. And like with Sunderland now, of course, we're only going off the opening 6 games. And if it is 0.9 points and going off the way we've played, I think we have more than enough to pick up points when we're not playing well, even if it is just the odd point here and there, the odd home win. I think from off the basis of what we've seen so far, I think we are going to be fine. I'm not saying it's going to be plain sailing. I don't think we're going to be finishing the top half. I don't think we're going to be sitting pretty in the top 6 like we are now. But I've moved from my prediction from 17th to maybe around sort of 13th, 14th, maybe. That's still, for me, been very kind to us, I think.
Yeah, I sort of have us in that 16th to 12th range.
Okay, we're playing it safe, aren't we? We're playing it safe.
That's the eye test. Anyway, your good friend. I don't really know Michael Bowers, but he's somebody who I've...
he's a great lad. He's a beautiful lad.
I don't know if I've ever met him. I've always talked to him online. I don't know if I've met him. Anyway, I've seen him at the games. He's got a question. Yeah. When do you both think Sunderland will get the credit we deserve for our start rather than it being down as having easy games? That argument totally ignores the last 3 games where, despite Villa and Forest starts, are hard games when we went down to 10 men at home, Villa and Forest away from home. So, do you think the media is ever going to really give Sunderland any credit?
No, and yes. And I've thought about this. So, what I find somewhat amusing is it is largely coming from the sort of Leeds and Burnley sort of fan base to a degree, maybe the Mags as well, because they just go wherever we are. But obviously because they're comparing with us and our starts to the season. So that's natural anyway. But the same fans that said Sunderland are going to go down with record points because they were 24 points behind Leeds and Burnley. And then we made a load of signings. Oh, they made a load of signings. They're not going to gel in time. The same fans that said that are now saying, oh, well, they've had an easy start. But by your metric or by your logic, we shouldn't be good enough to pick up any points anyway, because we're going down with record points. And now we are winning games, regardless of who we're playing. Does not matter. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. And we can only play whoever's put in front of us, and we have done well. And by their logic, as I say, we technically have 19 teams that are better than us on paper. In paper, if you're going to have a look at us being the 3rd team coming up. So regardless of who we're playing, be it Forest, Brentford or Manchester City, we should not be getting points from those games, according to them. And we have. So, yes, I can sit here and say Leeds and Burnley might have on paper a more difficult start, but I can still appreciate what they've done with their start. But they should be able to say, oh, they've done really well. Because a minute ago, we're saying they're going down with no points. And like I said, we can't choose who we're coming up against. Are we supposed to say, right, with West Ham rock up at the stage of my life, are we supposed to say, right, hold up, Kevin, #69 on Twitter, has said that our start's too easy. Bring us City, bring us Liverpool. What are we supposed to do? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We've put whatever's been put in front of us, we've earned it. It's not like they've come to the stage of my life. We've gone to other places and said, and they've rolled over and gone, oh, no, we're really easy. We've had to work our arses off the points we've got. So, yeah, credit should be given where credit's due. And I'll give it to Leeds and Burnley as well. They've done well within their own right. They've done for teams that have come up. So, rant over.
Yeah. What I would say with Leeds and Burnley is if Sunderland got their points totals from their games, I'd probably have been happy. Like Burnley have picked up a win against us. They drew with Forest, but the 4 other games they've played, you would expect them to get beat. Leeds, I think they've done incredibly well with their fixtures. I think they're on 8 points, 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats, and they've chucked points away late on as well. Like I've been impressed with both of them. But I think our easy game argument that people have, for me, that's gone when we've drawn at Crystal Palace. We've drawn with Aston Villa with 10 men for an hour, and then we've beaten Nottingham Forest away. Like, on what planet are those 3 games? I get the first 3. You look at West Ham at home and the situation they were in. We played West Ham at a great time. Burnley, we actually lost, and that was a terrible time to play Burnley because it was their first home game back. And then Brentford at home, did we play them at an all right time? I don't know. They've lost their away games this season, so maybe they're just not a great away traveling team. But the 3 since then, like Palace away and Forest away and Villa, they're all teams in Europe, all teams that can beat any teams in the Premier League. And I think that people are looking at it being like, it's easy. Like, how are they easy games?
Of course, absolutely. And then, like I've said, it's so well documented, the jump in quality between the Championship and the Premier League. So regardless of form of teams in the Premier League, they should all be better than us to a degree. They should be. And when we've seen it over the years, it's so incredibly, impossibly difficult at times. So for all 3 teams to pick up the points that they have, should only be should only be applauded. Not, oh well, yours was easy. What was easy? What was easy? Do you know? There's nothing easy about it. There's something more favourable. City are better than Forest, and Liverpool are better than West Ham. But there's nothing easy about it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and when we play those teams, we've got that horrific December. We know that.
I'm sleeping and I'm hibernating all December. Maybe.
Maybe. But the thing is, though, we have that to come. But we've picked. The thing is, Burnley. Then I imagine have probably got a pretty all right December, but they have to pick up those points. And that's
you're
how.
right.
Well, that's
we're
how
going to play the same
works.
teams at the end of the day, so I just don't. I don't get it. I'm getting irate, Connor. I'm getting irate.
Yeah. It riles me up as well. I do think there is merit. I did interview Benjamin Bloom. I don't know if you follow his YouTube channel, but he's got quite a big YouTube channel. He's an Ipswich fan. And we were talking about Ipswich's fixture list. And I empathized with their situation where they came up and they played Liverpool at home and Man City away with their first 2 games of the season. And he was like, you lose momentum from them games. Like, if they'd played West Ham at home like what we did and won that game, you've got to rely on them winning that game. And we can talk about the pressures of having actually an easier fixture list, the fact you have to win the games. But I do think there is merit to the idea that having a decent-ish first few games of the season can really help you long term. And I think Ipswich did not have that last season.
I do agree. Looking at it that way, I do agree. In the, of course, if you do have, I want to say favourable, I'm sick of saying easy, a favourable-ish start to the season, if you do manage to get a few points, then yes, you've got the momentum from getting promoted in the first place, and then you're laying down the foundations and you're laying down the start of having a great beginning, and it gives you that momentum going forward. And yes, it can kind of halt everything if you play sort of Liverpool, City, Chelsea, and lose them all. And then your morale is on the floor, isn't it? So I get that to a degree, but like you've just said as well, we still have to win those games. They're not arriving and saying, right, here's 3 points. We're not Man City.
It's
we're not
massive
Liverpool.
Pressure as well.
Huge.
When we went into that West Ham game, in my head, I was going, if we lose this game today, I genuinely think we don't generally swear on here, but FUCKED. That's what I was like. If we don't get anything today, West Ham are a team I've got going down potentially. We're knackered.
Huge. If anything, we had more pressure than if we were to play a team like Liverpool or a City, because again, the team coming up, we need to be looking at these games, even though they are difficult. We need to be looking at them with the intent to win. So for us to do what we've done, well done, Sunderland. Well done.
Yes, right. Let's talk about Man United. Well, not Man United as such, but let's talk a little bit about Man United and Sunderland. To me, this is a nightmare game from Man United. I'm taking my Sunderland hat off here and putting on my neutral hat. But they're playing a newly promoted team. Therefore, the expectation is win. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't matter what Sunderland are doing. Man United are playing Sunderland at home. Man United win. That's their head. Mm-hmm. They've got a manager who's just played Brentford, who they've lost 3-1. And if you watch that game and you watch the goals that they concede and you watch the way that Brentford played and you watch the way that Sunderland play, you'd go, Sunderland have the exact same threats that Brentford have. Sunderland will sit in a low block, they'll frustrate, and they'll whip beyond the counter-attack with pace in behind. And Man United's high line will struggle against Wilson Isidore, Simon Adingra, Talby, whoever else it is we've got there. I think this is a horrific game for Manchester United.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And you look at them, sort of play by play. There's some big names, undoubtedly talented lads within that Manchester United team, and everyone's just waiting for them to finally click, and it just hasn't happened. Well, for years now, really. But under Amorim, it looks like it's just getting progressively worse. He's just so sort of stubborn to stick with a system that evidently is not working at all. They look horrific and all over the place. And I do feel like it might be one of those games where we are going to go sort of gung-ho from the off. And if we do manage to get something, that 5 at the back's coming out after 25 minutes. I can see that happening. You know, at Old Trafford, obviously a big ground. It's going to be one of the biggest grounds any of these players have played at. It's going to be not hostile, because it's not really that kind of place, I guess, but it's going to be, you know, getting under the skin a little bit. They haven't played in that kind of atmosphere before with that level of crowd. So I think to kind of sit back and just get together as a unit after going in front, that's the kind of performance I expect from Sunderland. And hopefully that is the case. Because, and like you are right, they look very, very poor at the moment, and it probably is on paper a very, very good time to play them as well.
Yeah, I think when I watched Thiago for the first goal at the weekend, Harry Maguire plays a ludicrous offside trap, gets it totally wrong. Thiago runs in, and I'm like, right, well, Wilson Isidore's going to do that. He's going to sit on that. He's going to know to do that. Man United's high line, and then you see the second goal where Thiago wins the aerial battle and nods it down and then runs in the box and gets. And I'm like, well, they're the sort of goals that I think we are designed to build. And I don't think Ruben Amorim, from what I know about him, as somebody who watches Man United a lot because of work, and I see them playing the same formation every game, and him being rigid to, we are playing a 3-4-3. I'm not going to mess around with it. They're going to line it with 2 central midfielders, one of which is Bruno Fernandes, who does not want to do defensive duties as much. We're going to line it with 3 central midfielders in there. The 3 centre-backs struggle even when they're playing against a 1. I look at this game, and I just think it's ready-made for Sunderland to win, because you know what Man United's game plan is going to be. They're not going to rock up and play a 4-2-3-1 at the weekend. Right. You know exactly how they're going to play.
Absolutely, and you're right in that I think the press that we have as well at times, whether we will start off with a really high press, they can't compete with a high press. They just crumble with a high press. And I think this game is made for Isidore Mayenda. I really, really do. I don't know in what capacity, but to get Isidore Mayenda on the pitch at the same time, I think to get their press as a duo somehow, I think we could absolutely railroad that back line.
I think it's interesting. I mean, if we talk about sort of the team selection, I think that he may put Lefay in there and take Rig out. I just think Rig did okay at the weekend, but like going to Old Trafford, I don't know. I think Rig would benefit if we were maybe ahead in this game with 20 minutes left and he had a bit more space to kind of operate, maybe. Yeah. But I think Lefay, Sadiki, Xhaka would be the midfield 3. And then on the left wing, I think I probably would go with Adingra. I don't think I would put Isidore out there. I do like the idea of having Isidore and Mayenda up front, but I don't think he'll go the 4-4-2. I just don't see him doing that. I
don't mean necessarily in a 4-4-2. I just mean even if he stuck him on the wing, maybe not even from the off. I just think with what I was saying was with Mayenda and Isidore, their press is generally really, really good, and they don't like that. So if we did have them on the pitch at the same time at some point in whatever capacity, I think that it would be a nightmare for United to deal with.
What I want to see happen, and what I think that the squad is designed for, is Brobby plays an hour. I think he long term will be the starting striker, and then I think that Isidore and Mayenda are situational. What you do with them, if we're losing a game. We did this against Burnley, and it really irritated us, where I think Mayenda started, and then they took Mayenda off and they put Gio and Isidore up front together. And I was like, no, we need to get Mayenda and Isidore up front together, because we know they work together well. And we haven't seen that, I think, at all this season. No, we haven't. Neither of them have been on the pitch at the same time. And I think that long term, Brobby be the starter, them two will be the finishers. And maybe this weekend might be the weekend to do that.
Maybe. I do agree that I think, particularly because of the amount of money we paid for Brobby as well, but I think the way he's going to use him and the way he's going to integrate him is bring Brobby on, particularly if we are a goal up, because he's totally different to Eastor and Mayenda in that he's a focal point, he's a target man. So if we are under a load of pressure like we saw against Notts Forest, when we just have to resort to route one, pump it, it's going to stick 9 times out of 10 because he is such a big lad, isn't he? He's just such a big lad up top. Whereas Mayenda for me and Easter aren't great at holding up the ball. They're someone who want to break the lines and run in behind and make those runs. Whereas probably he'll happily accept a duel. So whether that's something he's going to want to go with from the off in the future, I don't know. I think he's just someone who we can bring on later down the line.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, going to Man United away and like, obviously, if we lost the game, I looked at Forest and Man United away and said, you know what, 1 point from those 2 games would be a decent result.
Yeah.
That's what I'd thought in my head. And I feel like this is a free hit. I feel like it's a bonus. But I think I would be disappointed if we went there and got turned over, because I just think they are there for the taking right now. And we have the tools to really, really hurt them.
Yeah, I think it works too because of how, because I think you're probably leaning towards this. I think because obviously when we were growing up, Manchester United were obviously the force to be reckoned with, weren't they? They're incredible. So now it is strange to look at Manchester United, to go to Old Trafford, which to get a win now was unheard of for like the best part of a decade. So for us, Sunderland, newly brought it to go there now, and we're thinking, get 3 points. It is mental, but I think it can go either way because we still hold them in such high regard because of the history. If we did get beat, maybe not say no, but if we did just get beat, we'd be like, okay, well, it's Manchester United. But on the other side, it's sort of, yeah, but they're terrible at the minute. We should be beaten. It's such a weird dynamic to watch how that's shifted over the years, isn't it?
Yeah. If I offered you a point, would you take it?
Yes, 100%. I think every away game this season, if someone offered me a point from the beginning, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I think I'd agree, but I don't know. I just
you
think
want more.
The way,
you could smell blood. I can see.
I think it's the fact that like I see. I'm so excited by this team and what this Sunderland team can be, and I think that it's a perfect storm. Like to me, this has got final nail in the manager's coffin. It's got boo goal. I mean, I talk about boo goals. I don't know if you know what I mean by that, but you know what I mean when a late goal goes in and you get that chorus of it goes. Ruben Sellers has had it a couple of times at Sheffield United this season, but like that's what I think this game looks like. Like I think a neutral is looking at this. I'm going to be very interested to see what neutrals predict for this actually in the week and what they think. But for me, this screams horrible game for Man United and away win.
Yeah, obviously I'd take it, but I can just see that. I don't know. I think it does. It is lined up perfectly to be Sunderland providing the final nail in the coffin, like you say. But equally, I think there's just as good a chance that they somehow turn us over 4-5-0, and then it buys Amorim another few weeks in charge. You know, I think it really is a flip of a coin. But I can't see us conceding that amount of goals this season. Maybe against the likes of Liverpool, City, and the like, maybe. But the way that I've seen us defend, we concede chances, but half of them are half chances and from distance. But the way in which we're defending, I am so confident going into games that we're not going to concede 2, 3, 4, 5 goals. So it's just a case of whether we can get them on their break, and hopefully we do get Eastor in, because I find that the only not disheartening thing, but I think because our defence is so strong, our midfield to a degree is strong. I think that interlink between the midfield and the final third still isn't there for me. You know, we're not making clear-cut chances. We might make a sort of half chance once every 25 minutes or a clear-cut every hour. It's not like we're making chance after chance after chance. So I think once that gets sorted, then I would be more confident into going into games like this and thinking, okay, we're going to roll them over here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, if I was to give Man United any sort of credit, they are top of like the XG table this season. I know some people don't love XG, but the indicator is they are underperforming in terms of clear chances. And do you know what? When I watch Man United, they do miss some chances. I mean, they missed 2 penalties this season. Fernandes has missed. I don't think they actually look too bad going forward, but that defense, I'm sort of hoping that we can click and hurt them. Anyway, let's talk about we've got a few questions to go through, some serious, some not so serious. So we'll start with not so serious. Nathan Barron, when we finish 4th at the end of the season, do you think we'll play Real Madrid at home or away?
I'd love to see us go to the Bernabeu. Like that would be the best day of my life. My life would have peaked if that happens. I wouldn't come home. I wouldn't come home.
I think I'd want them at the Stadium. I like.
Yeah, I think that there'd be beauty in seeing Real Madrid at the Stadium, like given that we're only seeing Wickham not so long ago. I think there's something beautiful about that. But just to see Luke O'Nien at the Bernabeu. I mean, it sounds.
He'll probably be in the away end at that point. To be fair, if we're in the Champions League,
don't be horrible. Don't be horrible.
No, I love Luke O'Nien, and I hope that he gets. I would love for him to score. He scored in every league, hasn't he? Obviously, apart from the Premier League. So
even if he only gets 3 or 4 cameo appearances, I'm all for it. He deserves it.
He's not signed a new deal though to sit on the bench.
No, I mean you're right. I mean, he signed a new deal. It's only a year deal though, isn't it? I think
I think it's a year extension on what he had. He was out of contract this summer. He's out of contract now next summer.
Yeah. So I don't know whether it's just because they want him about the place. He knows the club inside out. He is Mr. Sunderland at this point, isn't he? So yeah, of course he's not signed a new deal just to sit on the bench. But I think you will see bit pieces. I mean, at the minute I can't see Luke O'Nien slipping into that back four that we've seen so far this season. But
left back, yeah, maybe
possibly. No. He can go anywhere, Luke, can't he? He can go anywhere. He can go anywhere, Luke.
I think that's why they've kept him, because he's so versatile. Like, fundamentally, if worst come to worst and we over AFCON had injuries and lost players due to AFCON,
yes,
that's
where we see the rise. The rise of Luke O'Nien in December. You heard it here first. It's going to happen.
Jake asks, how far can this team actually go? What do you think the ceiling is? I presume we'll put a cap on it this season. What do you think is the best if everything went perfectly and we kept getting all these easy fixtures all the time and we didn't have to play Man City? What's
this season?
Yeah. How far do you think we can go? What do you think is the best that we could do this season?
I think the best for me would be finishing in the top half. If we finished sort of 8th or 9th, then for me that'd be almost a miracle. Well, not even a miracle, because but again, there's going to be recency bias because of how well we've played in this opening 6, even though they have been easy games. But for us to finish in the top half in any way, shape, or form, even 10th, I think that'd be absolutely phenomenal, absolutely outstanding, and I'm here for it.
Sheffield United finished 9th, didn't they, after they got promoted, and I think Leeds under Bielsa finished 9th. So
is that right?
Yeah, so I think 9th is
what an easy start to the season can do for you.
Yeah, exactly. So I think 9th. I think that's as far as this team can go this season.
Yeah, I agree. I can't see us lingering in the top 6 too much longer.
No, I don't see that either. Luke O'Nien's pancake shoulder, very interesting. That's a reference to a good couple of years ago.
Love that.
Did we really swap Josie Altidore for Jermaine Defoe, or am I still dreaming? No, that happened.
It absolutely happened. It's a fact.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Fame striker, is he? Jermaine Defoe? Did he get Premier League Hall of Fame?
Yeah. I believe so.
So fair play. Yeah, controversial. Don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame, but there we are. That's just me.
No, maybe not Hall of Fame. I think it's because is it the general Hall of Fame? You talk about Sunderland.
No, it's a Premier League Hall of Fame. Oh, no, he should be in the Sunderland. Yeah.
I was going to say, I was like, Jesus.
No, Premier League.
Yeah, Premier League. Now, he is a sort of classic Premier League Barclays baller that people mention online.
Yeah, he is.
But yeah, no, you're probably right. I think we just have a bit of a soft spot ourselves, don't we? There's definitely a bit of bias. But if you put him up against Cristiano Ronaldo, Thierry Henry, and the like, it's not quite the same. But he was a phenomenal striker.
Yeah, they're a bit of a mockery Hall of Fame, aren't they? I always think like the WWE Hall of Fame. I know your brother's a wrestler, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a wrestler. Is a wrestler. I always laugh though when like you see like the Undertaker in there, and then they put in like Donald Trump, and you're like, what's he doing? What's he doing?
You think Jermaine Defoe is the Donald Trump of the Premier League Hall of Fame?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying there has to be tiers to it, doesn't it? Like Jermaine Defoe's not Thierry Henry.
Oh no, of course. I do agree.
Kevin Phillips, for me, because of that 30-goal season he had, European Golden Boot. For me, that achievement should put him in the Hall of Fame ahead of Defoe, who had a really, really good career. I mean, I don't want to come across as hating Jermaine Defoe. Obviously, I really
you are right. You're true. The Golden Shoe, by the way, it's the Golden Shoe.
Sorry, it is. Yeah, the Golden Shoe.
No, you are right.
Yeah, there we are. I always like to hear I'm right. Right. Last question, which you've already answered. Who's Joel's favourite Sunderland signing this summer? So we'll take out Noah Sadiki. Out of all the players other than Noah Sadiki,
that's an hard one. I think probably Alderete. I want to say Mukiele, but I just think Alderete, he's come in and he's given no less than sort of 8.5 out of 10 performances. When he come on against West Ham, well, it was West Ham, wasn't it? First game of the season. He had to come on, didn't he? Yeah, he had to come on.
Got the assist.
Yes, of course he did. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So long ago, 6 games ago. But I remember when he come on, and I was obviously had a few drinks because I was excited, and I'd heard all this about the Getafe president saying he's the best centre back in the league. I was putting my arm around this randomer next to me, and I'm saying he's going to be the best centre back. And the second he got the ball, he did this lovely Cruyff turn across the back, and I was just like, I told you, he's amazing. And and he's just been phenomenal. He's just a monster. He's so comfortable with the ball. He's got a wonderful left foot, aggressive, strong. So Alderete for me, but that's only if Sadiki's in the picture because I adore that boy.
Yeah, that's true. It's hard to pick one. I mean, I love Robin Roofs. I mean,
of course, say any of them.
Yeah, it's really hard to pick one, but yeah, I'll go Robin Roofs. There we are. That'll be my favorite, even though it's really Granit Xhaka because I still can't believe he plays for us.
Yeah. That's the dream.
It's the perfect point to sign up. But how many? Have you got any Sunderland games coming up for you? I know obviously you live in Blackpool, I believe.
Yeah.
Obviously a bit more difficult for you to get up. But have you got any games eyed up?
Well, I was due to come to the Everton game. I booked it off and everything, and then it got changed to Monday, so that's gone down the pan, hasn't it? So other than that, I kind of have to work it out on like a sort of week by week basis or month by month basis with my work schedule because I work. I only get 1 in 3 weekends off with my work, so and coming from Blackpool, it's a nightmare to work out. And I'm basically paying for a holiday every time I'm coming up to Sunderland. So financially, it's a bit of a strain and all, but I try as much as I can.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. To be fair, that Everton game benefited me because I'm at a wedding on the Saturday. And I'm at a wedding the following Saturday as well. And I was like, I'm going to miss back-to-back home games. And then the Everton one got moved. Arsenal got moved, but it's a 5:30 now. I was like, well, I still can't watch it. I'm probably at a wedding somewhere that'll have no signal. The people getting married probably don't like football and won't have a telly on. It'd be horrific.
It'll be all right. It'll be all right. But yeah.
Right. Thanks for joining me today, Joel JamSarny. Find him on YouTube. Watch his match reviews. I am all over the Sunderland content. I am watching it all because I'm sad, but because I love the lads.
Absolutely. We all do.
Yeah, we all do. So watch JamSarny's channel if you're not watching it already. Like and subscribe to this channel as well if you enjoy what I think it is. And we've got Matty Hewitt, the Sunderland Chronicle journalist coming on at some point this week. Who else we got coming on? Alt Endon's coming back on as well.
Oh, he's brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, having a bit of an international break debrief. And ITV's Simon O'Rourke. He's another one that's going to come on.
Look at you,
I know, I've got a few coming on.
The big names with your bloody fish. What's going on here?
Yeah. They just see my face and they just want more of it. They're just like, they're asking me.
Are they please?
No. I'm coming to them big and like, please give me content. So there you are. Lots to look forward to on the channel. Thanks again, JamSarny. Joel. I'm going to go Joel. It feels weird calling someone JamSarny.
Do it, mate. I don't care.
Okay. Joel. We'll go with Joel. Right. Thanks for coming anyway. And we'll see you all very soon for another vid.